Hi, this is Michael from Tranquility. You're watching and listening to LINEA ROCK.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Barbara.
Welcome to Milan.
Thank you so much.
And welcome to LINEA ROCK once again.
It's great to be back here. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been about 3 years
Yeah,
now.
right?
Even more. It was May 2013 last
You
time.
remember this better than I do, but okay, I'll trust you.
Of course I do, okay. So it's 3 years since Construct.
Yeah.
And finally, on November 4th, 2016, the new album is coming out for Dark Tranquillity. And it is the actually 11th chapter. It's called Atoma.
Yes.
Atoma, which is the correct pronunciation.
Any way you want it.
All right. And that could actually take fans a little bit by surprise, because it's a particular album, which comes in a particular period for the band. Now we're gonna actually talk about it. But your musical direction is still evolving a lot, and that is good, but sometimes can be tricky.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I read that the process of writing of this album was gradual and was long.
Yeah.
So is this release actually liberating more than ever? And so just tell us about it.
Yeah, it really is. Because, I mean, you would imagine, like, we've been around now, been doing this since we were 15. You would think that maybe it just keeps getting easier and easier to make music because you have more experience. No, absolutely not. It's quite the opposite. I mean, it just means that you put so much more pressure on yourself because, of course, you want to make something new and different and all that stuff, but you also want it to be better and more of what you love about the band. You want everything to really matter. You want it to be serious and easy and like all these different things that you have in your mind about what the next album should be like, and maybe you kind of set an unreachable goal for yourself, you know, to kind of achieve. Like it has to be this much better than all the other releases combined, you know, and of course you can never live up to that, and that causes a lot of like tension, I think, on yourself, and a lot of pressure on yourself, and a lot of stress, which means basically we've been working like madmen, you know, for months and months just to somehow make sense of what we want to do. Like, how do we, because we had all the material and everything sounded good, but it's just a matter of like getting it just right, you know, to make an album that has everything that we want from the band this year, you know, and in this time and place. And getting there was, really difficult, but as you said, incredibly rewarding once we felt like all the pieces fit, everything is right there. It's like, and it turned into something way, way better and more than we could ever have imagined, you know, because you have this idea in your head and like, this is what the album should be. And then once you hear all the individual instruments come in and all the individual kind of performances, all of a sudden it becomes something amazing. So I couldn't be happier. And it was kind of cool to actually be able to relax and get some sleep.
Which you're not doing this week because you're on full promotion for the new
No, but for 2 weeks I had some time off. That was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was another lineup change during, or actually quite before the recording of this new album. So Martin Henriksson, bass player, and guitar player. Okay, a long-time member quit the band, and once again, it happened, you know, as with Daniel, right before the recording of the new album. It happened also with Construct. What happened this time? Did you expect it from him? Are you, in a sense, doomed with a curse? Or, you know, because Martin stated actually that he lost the passion for playing music. So that is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Which are your comments on that?
Definitely, I was shocked, you know, when he told us, and it was like, what? Come on, like, no, get your act together. It's like, come on. It's like, it's not that bad, you know, you can get into it again.
Maybe it's just a period and...
yeah, exactly. Like we all have, you know, you start doubting yourself, all that stuff. But this is something that's been going on for a long time. So obviously, I mean, thinking back on it now, I realized that, this was not like a spur of the moment kind of decision. This was something that has been going on for a long time. And I think part of it is actually because Martin is he's the guy that takes care of everything around the band. Like he's the guy who books shows, makes sure all the finances are right and all that, those things. And of course, nowadays that's super important. So that means a lot of work for him. And he's always doing that and making sure everything is just perfect. Yeah. So he said, like, so sometimes when I'm on stage, I'm already thinking about like booking flights and doing all that stuff behind the scenes kind of thing. And not really caring about actually playing and being on stage because he would rather just do that, you know. So now he's the full-time manager for the band and takes care of all that stuff. So, I mean, he's still a huge part of the band, just not on stage and on the albums. So, of course...
So he's staying there behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So obviously, I mean, and also, like, he hasn't written that much in the last couple of years. So for the songwriting process, it didn't really affect that much. But of course, like, emotionally and for the mood in the band, a lot of things changed. You know, all of a sudden, maybe you start doubting yourself as well. You're like... Oh, how do I feel about the band? And it's like, and what are we doing? Like, if he feels that he doesn't have it anymore, then it's like, why are we continuing? And I think that became a driving force because then you need to prove to yourself why you're doing it. Yeah. And I feel so strongly about what I do, and I love it so much that that kind of made me want to do it even more, you know? Because this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about and that I love and that has given me so much over the years. So, but getting to that realization was kind of difficult. So,
and did you work any differently this time? Maybe less as a team? Because maybe sometimes, you know, losing members can change the spirit sometimes and push, you know, maybe you to work as a loner more intimately or not.
A little bit of both. I mean, definitely. I mean, like Anders is working by himself, like coming up with stuff, and then Niklas and Martin does that as well, just to kind of figure out what they want to do. But then we all come together, and somehow we reach this kind of consensus, musical consensus of what we actually want to do. So it's like Anders has a melodic idea, then Martin Brenström will interpret that and make something out of it. Then Niklas will add to that, and you know, then I will add vocals to it. So I mean, eventually, even though we come from totally different directions, we come down to some kind of like clear direction once we all apply our own filters to it. And but of course, as you said, like the mood did shift a little bit, and maybe like it was a time of reflection where you go like, it's like, you start viewing it, because it's so easy to just go forward, just be the band, just do whatever, and not really look at how the other guys are feeling. It's just let's move ahead, you know. So there was definitely some time for like introspection and reflections. Like,
so can we define this a crucial album coming in a crucial moment for Dark Tranquillity?
I would say so, but they all are. But yeah, I mean, we go like, okay, so we released 10 albums. It's like you start thinking like, all right, what should we do? Like, why are we doing an 11th? Do we still have something to say, you know? And we felt we did. It was just a matter of like, articulating that and getting that into words and into music, and that was the hard part, you know.
Feels like a new beginning.
It definitely does. I mean, you kind of collapse under the pressure of like losing someone and kind of starting anew, or you get to work and start working on things and getting things done. And I think that's what we did. We were like, okay, hey, let's kind of reassemble in a way and just move forward, you know. And so that became like part of the inspiration as well to kind of move on. So it's it definitely is, and I think that's reflected both in the cover artwork and also the title, which kind of speaks to like a nucleus, a new beginning, a new start, like the beginning of something.
Yeah. That is a Greek word, right? Atoma? Or
it is.
Okay, so why that choice? I mean, it was the perfect fit.
I thought so. It was like after a conversation I had with Niklas, we started talking about what the cover artwork should look like, and he had no idea, and I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just so focused on the songs right now. I don't have time to think about anything else. And I said, well, read all the lyrics, and I sent them to him, and he was like, all right. But so what I see here is like it's about like the core of the human condition, you know, like who we are as people and why we do the things that we do, and also we started talking about what has happened, because obviously, I mean, we've known each other since we were kids, and so much has happened. Like especially in the last couple of years, there's been like deaths in the family and new births in our like extended family, all that stuff, and it's like there are so many life-changing things where you have to kind of reevaluate everything that you do in order to kind of move forward. And so there's been like personal new beginnings, and so Niklas said, well, what about Atoma, which is like in Swedish and English not really a word, but it actually it kind of feels like it means something anyway. And I was like, yeah, because that it kind of inspires thought, you know, like it's something that you gets you thinking, you know. And then we said, oh yeah, it's actually good, let's go for that, you know. And all of a sudden Niklas was like, all right, then maybe I have an idea, you know. And then it took like 3-4 days, and then he sent this cover to all of us, and we were like, wow, yeah, that is it, you know, like that just felt right. And and it's so great because Niklas is one of those guys who really will doubt himself and like go like, I don't know what to do, and kind of insecure. But once he gets this inspiration and like just something to work with, he does some of his absolute finest work.
And actually, do you remember when and where did you discover this extra talent that Niklas has, you know, to make graphics and artworks? And do you think that having an insider, you know, being able to do that, it can be a plus for the band?
I remember exactly when I discovered it. I was 6 years old, and we were in kindergarten together.
Okay, long time ago.
That's not that. It was 25 years. No, and Niklas was sitting there like drawing, you know, in a sketchbook and stuff like that, and we started talking, and we became friends, and just doodling, and like in every of his, like, you know, all the school books and stuff like that when we went to school was always like tiny little drawings, and I was drawing too, and we were like exchanging stuff, and it's like, oh, what do we think of this, and like making stupid drawings. And he was always really, really talented, and so it's been like that ever since. And of course, like I'd always tell him, like, I want more of your drawings, you know, instead of all the digital art that he does. Like we were like, no, let's go for that. I mean, because he's always been penciling like forever, always in like notebooks and stuff like that. Whenever we have some time off, or you know, waiting somewhere or flying somewhere. So I wanted to see more of that, and that's why I love the way the album artwork came out.
So that means that, you know, being a musician is his extra talent, actually.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it came later.
Yeah, but it's also like a part of expression. You know,
of course.
I love the whole thing. So obviously now when I just saw like the finished version of the deluxe edition of the album, which has a ton more artwork on it. It's a lot of drawings and stuff like that for basically for every song.
Okay.
So that's what you love. That's part of the reason I got into music, because I thought, oh, these album covers are so cool and it looks so fantastic, you know. And just my dream is that everyone who listens to this album gets this version of it, you know, where all the Niklas's art is there and the lyrics are there. You read it, you watch these images and get an idea in your mind.
It's a complete project.
Yeah, exactly. And you listen to the music at the same time, and it's like that becomes like more than the sum of its parts, if that makes any sense, that kind of thing. So I mean, that's my dream is that everyone experiences it that way. Of course, that's not the case, but you know.
You called Anders on bass, and is it like a kind of substitute, or is going to be an official member of the band?
He's definitely in.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, we didn't really know in the beginning if he could commit to in the long term, you know, for like with all the touring and stuff like that we have scheduled. But so we said, well, join us for a couple of shows, see how it feels. And of course, it's been amazing. Like, he's one of our oldest friends.
Okay.
We've been we've been hanging out since we were like 14, 15.
So it was your first pick.
Yeah.
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 Very first name that you came.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it just made perfect sense. It's like one of those things where it just clicks. And of course, it's been so great, like having one of your best friends on stage with you,
Yeah.
kind of introducing him to our audience. It's like,
Yeah.
because we've been talking about it for years, like, you know, you exchange stories, you know, like, and he's been playing with Tiamat and Avatorium and all these stuff, and I go like, yeah, well, you know, you should see us in Italy, for instance. Like, oh, this is great, and now tomorrow he can see for himself.
And did Martin have a word, you know, in deciding, you know, to pick him, because he's the manager now, so.
Yeah, and Martin was still in the band when Anders started, so yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, and I mean, and
So he was happy about it.
of course,
Okay.
we all are.
For the lyrics, do you think that all this kind of struggle, you know, doubt, particular period that you were living actually reflects in the lyrics of the new album?
Maybe that wasn't the intention. I mean, that's just something that comes out of writing, but of course it is there, and like, but also a lot of things that just has been going on in the world has affected
Yeah, of
it.
course.
Like it's been a lot of like really horrific things that have happened. A lot of things have changed, you know, in how we view the world, and all of a sudden I've seen like normal people turn into like fearful territorial beings, you know,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, like, when you're frightened, you kind of lose all sense of empathy and sympathy for others. And I've seen, like just regular folks in Sweden who I thought were sane and nice, all of a sudden like turn hateful towards other people, you know, from other parts of the world or whatever. And it's like, I don't get it. It's been so strange and so scary, I think, just to see that happen, you know, just seeing the amount of like hatred and frustration and kind of animosity towards anything new and different, you know, and not being able to appreciate and kind of embrace change and like new ideas, other cultures, all that stuff, and like having this kind of narrow-mindedness. I just don't get it. Like I just don't get it, and I've been trying to kind of figure it out. Like what is the reason behind this? Is it just human nature? Is it something that we've learned, or is it just the way we are, you know? And I guess I somehow hope that we are more than that. I mean, we should be bigger, we should be more open-minded, we should be able to embrace whatever change that comes and kind of make something and move forward, you know, instead of like just resorting to like, if it's new, if it's different, then I don't like it, that kind of thing. And
Being suspicious. You know?
Yeah, I want progress, you know, I want progress and I want openness. That's what I like. And I just, it's really, really heartbreaking to see how part of my world reacts when things change. You know?
Yeah.
So that was like the starting point for many of the lyrics, just like trying to figure it out and like try to pinpoint the different reasons why we are the way we are. You know.
And you prefer to record in Gothenburg at home in your own studio. Actually, it's Martin's studio. Did you ever consider to change this habit? You know, as you change musical direction a lot during the years. You know, trying also different places beside different things.
Yeah, I guess we talked about it, but there's something. I mean, when it comes to just the actual recording. Like, sure, we do need like a room where the drums will sound perfect, you know, and so that has changed. Okay. But when it comes to vocals, guitars, keyboards, you can record it pretty much anywhere. It doesn't really matter, right? We have all the equipment. Either we can actually record at home or we do it somewhere else. Because I mean, it's basically just like getting it down there. It's about like what happens with your fingers, your vocal cords, and your guitar, that kind of stuff. So for us, it doesn't really matter. It's not like we do a live recording or anything like that. Which means Martin's studio is perfect for that because it has everything we need. It's convenient and close. We can work as long and as late, of course, as we want. We don't have to worry about anyone else. Okay. We can be in full control over everything. Like so that convenience, I think, is really important. And we've always been very, very conscious about that. We want to control everything. Like we don't want any outside, like a producer or anyone like that. We never really done that. So like constantly kind of changing things so that we can be in more control has been something that we've been aspiring to all this time, and now we're getting close to that.
But sometimes, you know, having time maybe get you like indulge or stuck in details because you know you have time. So
that's the dangerous thing. Absolutely. So yeah, it's important to kind of put a deadline to it and just have someone maybe that has the final say or something like that. So Martin Henriksson has been kind of like the producer this time around, going like, okay, now we're done. This is fantastic. Leave it. Moving on to the next, that kind of thing. So you need someone to do that. But it's better if it's a band member than someone else.
So you said you've been working on the song since a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years or so.
1.5, something like that. Yeah.
But I read that there's a mystery behind the the starting of the recording process of this album. Because somebody says May, somebody April, but it was announced that you were in the studio just in July. So why this mystery this time? You actually had the fear that maybe you couldn't make it quick because of the struggle you were living, so you kept it secret.
No, it wasn't. It's not a mystery. It's just a matter of us. We started like demoing and trying out stuff in January, February.
Okay, so it was before April, actually.
Yeah, but then we recorded some stuff in April, and we talked to the label, and they were like, either you record now and then we can release it before the summer, which would be great, or we record later and we release after the summer. And it's like, and of course we wanted to do it now, but we realized that sure, we had the material, but we weren't ready for it. We just weren't. So we just started. We said, okay, we start a little bit and demo stuff and see where it leads. And then we realized that no way, it's like we don't have the time. Then we rather work on the material for a bit longer, and then make sure we're all satisfied. So I'm really happy that we chose this other direction, because then that meant we had more time, and we could like focus and actually write some more songs that I thought were really, really beneficial to the album.
Jens Bogren mix was more melodic. This time David Castillo was in charge of the mix, and he already worked with Opeth, Katatonia, Candlemass, just to pick the Swedish bands. Do this choice fit better the new direction of Dark Tranquillity, and how do you see Jens' work in retrospect now?
Oh, I really love Jens's work. I mean, he did an incredible job with the construct, and so when we decided maybe we need someone else just for a change, we asked Jens. It's like, who do you think is good? And he was like, David is awesome. We've been working together for a long time, and he has a great studio in Stockholm. He's going to do amazing work. So we met him and we started talking, and we told him about what we were thinking about the album and what kind of made sense for us. And he had some really, really cool ideas, and he wanted it to be kind of grittier, yet more organic and stuff like that. And we were like, all right, it's starting to sound good. And he really understands keyboards and stuff like that, which sometimes is kind of difficult to get into a mix because of all the guitars and the screaming and all that stuff. So it was really interesting. So once we got the first mix, we were like, whoa, this is different from what we expected, but it was like, well, this is actually really cool. So we didn't really have to do that much in order to change things. It's just little tweaks here and there, but he totally got it, and I think it really benefits the album because there's a lot of layers to it. There are so many things going on, and he managed to kind of find the right balance between the melodies and the rhythms and stuff like that. And I think what I like the most is how the guitars and the keyboards kind of blend together in certain ways, where you sometimes go is this a guitar line or is it a keyboard line? Because some of the new kind of analog cool keyboards that Martin is using has this kind of really cool organic sound to it and a little bit of distortion and shit. So I just love how the way that it came out.
And do you think that this makes the record more immediate for the fans, or actually the opposite?
That's we'll see. No, I honestly don't know. I mean, we just finished a mix. What is it, 4 or 5 weeks ago or something like that? And
so it's
still super fresh to me. So I don't. Whenever I listen to it, I still listen for mistakes, even though there are any.
All right. And as you already mentioned, the album will be available in various editions, including vinyl, which is strongly coming back,
Yes.
Are you a fan of vinyl and a collector also of your own stuff?
I'm definitely a fan of vinyl. I mean, that's how I grew up. My first albums were, of course, on vinyl and cassette, actually, which is horrible. But vinyl is beautiful and amazing, and I'm so happy that it's coming back, because that means people do want a physical product. You know,
Right.
they want something to hold on and have on their wall or in their you know, their little bench, just because it's something that matters. You know. And it's not just for nostalgia reason, I think, you know. So yeah, that's why we still do it. I mean, because we figured that's the preferred way of listening to the album, like get it right. So yeah, the deluxe edition is amazing. It's huge and it's heavy and it has all this cool artwork and also like a bonus CD that is only for the deluxe edition with 2 special songs that you cannot get anywhere else. And the vinyl edition comes with the CD, of course, that kind of stuff. I like that. We have different colored vinyl because, you know, there are collectors out there, you know, and I'm one of them, you know. I'm not crazy. It's not like I buy different editions of albums or anything like that, but I do love it. And just like it's something that I can, it's good to treasure your favorite albums.
Which colors did you pick for the vinyl?
There are different ones. If you order from like Sweden, there's like a blue one that is just for one store. It's actually run by Anders Iwers. He works there, and it's walking distance from my house. So it's like it's amazing record store, my favorite. And then there's I think there is a red one. There's a green one, but I think the blue one is the one I prefer because it has the same shade as the album artwork. Yeah. It's a little bit see-through blue. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see it.
So it makes a continuation when you pick it up.
Exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. And concerning those 2 bonus tracks that you just mentioned, they have like a darker gothic flavor in a sense, all in clean vocals.
Yeah.
So great tracks, but
Thanks.
you kept them out, you know, of the final track list.
Yeah.
Is it because maybe they were too far experimental compared to the rest of the record?
Yeah, I think so. It's just we focused on these 12 songs like during the writing and the recording. We were like, this is it. And then we also had a couple of extra songs, and these 2, I felt really strongly about them. Because I finished the lyrics and the vocal melodies and stuff, and I was like, these are really, really good songs, and I love them. But of course, they maybe don't really fit on the album. Maybe we could make them fit, like rearrange them and do something. But we were like, it's not this time. So, but then we started thinking about maybe we do need some bonus material because you always like sometimes for different territories, like all that kind of stuff. So we were like, okay, but so if we have time, then maybe we do these 2 songs. And once we kind of wrapped up recording, we were like, okay, we have some time, but what should we do? And then in our studio, because there's a whole building of studios, and so there are 3 or 4 studios like right next to each other.
All right.
And right next door to where Martin works, this crazy guy sits with like mountains of old keyboards and tape recorders and analog reverbs and analog delay effects and stuff like that. It just, you walk in there, it looks like a museum, you know, of like forgotten hardware.
And there's a Michael Jackson photo hanging on the wall. Is that correct? Or
Is there?
I don't know. I saw some, you know, it seemed to me to be Michael Jackson, but...
Probably not,
no,
but it's true.
Okay.
I can't recall, but it's a really, really cool like studio, and he's a crazy, like really experimental kind of guy.
Okay. So it could be that Michael Jackson is there.
Could be, absolutely. And so we asked him, like, would you come in and kind of produce 2 songs for us? And you know, for people who know us, knows that we've never really let that control out of our hands. Yeah. We never had a producer. We've always done everything ourselves, basically, with mix. But here was like, we have nothing to lose. If it doesn't work, then we won't release it.
Yeah.
If it works, then fine, you know. And if it goes wrong, we can just go like, he did it.
Because, his fault.
Yeah. And that was very liberating. You know, all of a sudden we were like, let's just have fun, you know. Nothing to lose, no stakes. Like, we don't have to stress out about it. We don't have to be nervous about it like we are with all the other songs. So for 2 days, you know, he moved into our studio and made it totally analog and weird and cool. And then he just said, like, do this. And then we're like, all right, cool, let's do it. Because we knew we had like the melodies and the basic song, everything. So we just focused on that. And then he did the rest. Yeah. And I think it turned out amazingly well. I love those songs. And it was so much fun and when I listen to it, it's like, it sounds like a different band in a way. But at the same time, of course, it's our kind of sensibilities and melodies. So really, really cool. So I can't wait for people to fall off their chairs listening to it.
All right.
You know, and hopefully we'll scare some people.
That's good. So you played some festivals during the summer, and there's a rumor that you'll be testing some of the new album officially at metalitalia.com festival this upcoming weekend. Is this the first time you actually test an album live, right away before the actual release like this? And why Italy, if it's so?
Don't believe everything you hear.
All right.
we since I said, like, we finished the mix 4-5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We haven't had any time to actually rehearse
practice and review songs.
It's like so there was simply no time. We tried like 2-3 songs just to see what it was like, and we were like, all right, this is awesome, but yeah, there's no way we can do it justice. But we would love to. I mean, it would have been great, but it was just, I've been traveling, doing interviews, and we've been like making all these decisions about videos and stuff like that. It's been insanely busy, so we just didn't have time.
All right.
So yeah, the first time we will play these new songs is going to be on the day of the release of the album.
Okay.
When we start the tour in North America.
Okay, North America, which is going to be November, and but Europe is scheduled for 2017.
Absolutely, we haven't made any official things yet, but we are working on it right now.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty much everywhere, starting in March.
Okay, so you're coming back to Italy too?
Of course.
Okay. Any anticipation on the stage production of the new tour? Is there anything special that you're working on?
Yeah, we are working on something special. I just don't know exactly what it is yet. But
okay.
No, but it really is something that we love to do. I mean, that is exciting to kind of figure out, like, what do we do this time, because we've been touring for 3 years for Construct. It's time to change things up a little bit, make sure this is unique. Niklas is working hard with all the visual elements. And then, of course, it's a matter of figuring out what new songs we want to play, what old songs we want to play, that kind of thing. It's a lot of work, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be awesome. Like, I cannot wait to get started. Like, we have tons of new cool equipment that we got, and it's going to sound and look better than ever, I think. And
we cannot wait to have you back. So thank you very much for your time, and
thank you.
Just see you next time, Michael. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Rock on.
Yes.